I want to thank Director Wray, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein for your patience here, but more importantly for your resilience. And as you said publicly, Deputy Attorney General, refusal to be intimidated. I think it's critical that the investigations be allowed to go to their end, and we and all of our responsibilities follow them to their conclusion and follow our responsibilities to the Constitution. Deputy Attorney General, as my colleague from Florida was speaking to you earlier about the importance of the Mueller investigation, especially in the context of protecting our elections, I'm going to paraphrase what you said, but I think it's important to reiterate. You said the investigation is tremendously important. It's important to understand what's happening now, what happened in the past election, but also what's likely to happen in the future. We have to be certain to do everything we can to protect the American people in our elections. Is that a fair paraphrase of what you said?
Yes, sir.
And I'll add that we have to ensure that every American has the confidence in the integrity of their own vote and the integrity of our overall elections, and it's important to make sure we understand what's happening and we defend against it. Deputy Attorney General, are you confident that we are where we need to be today to prevent interference when Americans go to the polls in 4 months?
Congressman, we only know what we know, and as Director Wray said, he has established a task force. I've met with that task force. And we're continuing to do what we can, along with the Department of Homeland Security, which works with our state election officials. So I can assure you that we're taking a lot of steps to protect against election interference, both with regard to the protection of the ballot itself and with other efforts to interfere.
Well, so last year, each of you came before this committee. I had the opportunity to ask you, I had the opportunity to ask the Attorney General when he was here about what we were doing. This was back in the fall. I was particularly concerned by the Attorney General's answer to my question of are we doing what we need to do. His response essentially was that we're not where we need to be, quoting, I've not followed through to see where we are on that, but he said he would personally take action to do so. And I asked at that time if he would brief this. Despite that commitment to brief us and let us know what's being done, we've been unable to schedule a briefing to understand everything that's happening. I believe Congress needs to know what is being done so that we can better understand whether or not we are prepared and what actions we have to take. My question to you, Deputy Attorney General and Director Wray, will you commit to sending the appropriate representatives to brief my colleagues on this committee to understand what's being done on both the Department of Justice and the FBI?
Congressman, a couple things. First, I'm not sure if you were at the, we did a full House of Representatives briefing.
I was there.
And so I'm happy to do additional briefings on top of that, but we are doing a number of things to brief committees and members of Congress on all the things we're doing. I guess the second thing I would say, you referenced the Attorney General's earlier testimony on the subject, and I think it was a question to me when I testified in front of this committee in December.
I did ask you that, right.
And as I said, there are a whole lot of things that we're doing, and that's on me for not having at the time. He now has gotten much more extensively briefed, but that's on me for not having briefed the Attorney General on all the great new things the FBI is doing on that subject.
Okay. I appreciate it, and I've had the chance to meet with the clerks of the 2 counties I represent to understand what they're doing and what their help. There's a report that there was a meeting last month in Silicon Valley between 8 tech companies and representatives of the DOJ and the FBI. Are you aware of that meeting?
There have been a number of meetings with companies in Silicon Valley. We are working closely with them in appropriate ways to try to enlist, in ways that are, again, appropriate, their assistance in trying to better protect the country from improper, malign influence.
And I want to correct the record, it's between DHS and the FBI, but some of the reports that came from that meeting is that there was a sense of an unwillingness to cooperate, collaborate with tech to make sure that they are aware of any efforts that might be undertaken by foreign entities or otherwise to interfere in elections. Has your agency provided to these companies what they need to make sure they are able to put up the defenses and respond to any threats?
I will say, Congressman, this is the first time I've heard any complaints about what information we're providing, again, under the new efforts that we're making. We've actually provided all sorts of information to those companies in an effort to make them more effective. And I think from our perspective, we're now looking to see what they come back to us with in order, as again, in a joint coordinated effort to protect, they have to protect their own platforms. We're providing them information to help them do that. So my own experience, including having gone out to Silicon Valley and met with some of these companies myself, is that we're doing a whole lot of things that weren't being done before the 2016 election. And
I appreciate it. And like I said, these were reports, so I don't want to make any claims, but I do want to make the request that we work in partnership with the tech companies to do everything we can to ensure that every American's vote is counted fairly and every American has confidence in their vote and the ultimate election. The American people are counting on you both. And with that, I yield back.